All yours, Amarjeet sir.
Thank you very much, and very good evening to everyone. Uh, as Group Captain Manish was talking about risk management, so risk management is required in so many areas in our life. This is done through insurance, and insurance itself is a very big subject. So, covering everything in a short presentation, short duration is a little difficult. So, today I decided to talk about one part of risk management related to health. See, all of you are covered by some scheme, what we call ECG, EGHS, or what is that term in? So generally, you will feel that you don't need insurance. Yes, you don't need insurance because you have a lot of cover and unlimited cover there. But still, there might be some situation where you need insurance specifically for health related complications. So there is always suggested to have, if not big one, small health insurance policy with you. And apart from that, in case of critical or in case of situations where things are out of control and you want to take a benefit of health insurance, so there is a policy called health insurance top-up policy. So today I am going to give you brief about health insurance top-up policy, so that you know what it is, and if you feel that there is a risk which you want to actually manage through this policy, so you are most welcome. Top-up policy, basically, like before explaining the concept of sum insured and deductible, let me tell you that premium in insurance is generally directly linked with the probability of loss. So in insurance, when we do the risk assessment, or when we set the premium, we look at two things. One is how frequently the claim is expected, or historically, what is the frequency of claim, and second thing is the severity of claim. So in India, as on date, if you see, this is about only insured people. Out of 100 policies, there are 9 people taking claims. So there is a probability of, there is a frequency of 9%, 9 people taking claim out of 100 policies. And then the severity, how much claim will be there. So this severity for metro cities is about 140,000. That is 1,40,000 rupees on an average claim. And for non-metros, it is about 80,000 rupees per claim. So this looks very simple. 140, 1,40,000 रुपया looks very small amount, but the reality is that this is average. And there are claims, like in my experience, my career so far, I have seen a largest claim of 2 crore 42 lakh rupees. And sometimes situations are such that managing things becomes very difficult. So we need to prepare for that, and that is where top-up policy comes into picture. Top-up policy is designed to keep your premium low and insurance high. So generally, what happens, like for some amount, maybe 5 lakhs, maybe 10 lakh rupees, we feel comfortable even if it is to be spent out of pocket. Beyond that, it is going to trouble us. And I tell you one thing, in India, about 7% people who reach to hospital, they actually are pushed to poverty because of medical expenses. So that is where top-up policy comes handy. And this policy operates with a concept of deductible. So sum insured is one thing, and second is deductible, where it says that you decide the insurance value. So for example, we decide a sum insured or insurance value of 50 lakhs. Now it says that decide the deductible amount also. So that deductible amount can be anything between 3 lakh rupees to 10 lakh rupees, 20 lakh rupees, whatever company's policy has. Based on that, you can decide. So what happens if, assuming we take a policy of 50 lakh rupees with a deductible of 5 lakh rupees? It says that we will pay you claims up to 50 lakh rupees. But there is a condition that whenever there is a claim, 5 lakh rupees will be deducted from there. So that means up, if there is a claim of 4 lakh 90,000 rupees, this policy will not trigger. And this, if there is a claim of, let's say, 20 lakh rupees, this policy will pay you 20 minus 5, 15 lakh rupees, this policy will pay. Now, when I was telling you the risk and the premium calculation is based on frequency and the severity of claim possibility. In this case, you will realize that the possibility is low. Possibility of getting claim over 5 lakh rupees is low, and possibility of severity is also very low. That is why policy will be very, very economical, and premium will be very low in this policy. Even at the age of 60, if somebody wants a cover of 1 crore rupees of sum insured with a deductible of 10 lakh rupees, he will get this policy for 7-8 thousand rupees in a year. So that's where you protect yourself from exceptionally abnormal situation where you want to take best health care available in India. Now there are policies which are giving you global cover also. So you can actually explore global cover also in this policy where outside India treatment is also possible. Now, one more factor is that, like, when we say that everything is covered and we get a good cover, being ex army or ex defense personnel, there are certain things which you still have to pay out of pocket, and those are although very few cases, but still that can happen with anyone. That is organ donor expenses. So sometimes we might need some donor to donate, or like kidney transplant has become common, liver transplant has become common. So in that case, these policies actually cover the donor also. So those are the things where you can keep and think about actually transferring your risk to insurance company. And in this, there are two type of policies. One is top up and another is a super top up. So this top up decides on single claim. So there has to be single claim crossing the limit of deductible. Whereas a super top up policy says on aggregate value, annual aggregate value. I will show you one example which will actually help you in understanding more. So assuming we have taken an insurance of 50 lakh rupees of sum insured, 5 lakh rupees of deductible. So in case of top up, if there is one claim of 3 lakh rupees, it will pay nothing because it is not crossing 5 lakh rupees ka limit. There is a second claim of 4 lakh rupees, still it is not crossing 5 lakh rupees, so this will not pay. Then third claim is of 5 lakh 50,000 rupees. This is crossing the limit of deductible, so 550 minus 5 lakh rupees, this policy will pay you 50,000 rupees. On the contrary, super top up will work on an aggregate value. So same example continues. First claim is 3 lakh rupees. Super top up will pay you nothing. But second claim is of 40 lakh rupees. In that case, 4 lakh rupees. In that case, aggregate put together 3 and 4, 7, and deductible is 5, 3 and 4, 7 minus 5, 2 lakh rupees will be paid. And the third claim is 5 lakh 50,000 rupees. Since it has already crossed the deductible limit at aggregate, annual aggregate, the entire 5 lakh 50,000 rupees will be paid. Now, when we buy these policies, what all things these policies are actually going to cover? One is hospitalization expenses. General condition is of 24 hours of hospitalization is mandatory. But there are daycares where less than 24 hours hospitalization is also allowed to. Generally, like I have seen in common trend, when super top up triggers, somebody suffers from cancer and his sum insured of basic policy is exhausted, and then he goes for a chemotherapy or radiotherapy, and those are quite expensive, but continuing treatment, in that case this policy triggers, and daycare treatment is also covered. So whatever treatment is given in daycare, as per the list which is attached with the policy, generally there are about 450 to 600 daycare listed in the policy. Chemotherapy, for example, is listed there. So those are also covered without 24 hours hospitalization. Now things are moving very fast technology wise. So there are modern treatment methods like robotic surgeries, etc. Or now chemotherapy is given through oral also. So those things are also covered here. Donor expenses, as I told you, those can also be covered. It, this depends on policy to policy. When you decide to buy this policy, just check whether this policy is covering donor expenses or not. Similarly, Ayush cover is also there, and domiciliary hospitalization is also there. Domiciliary hospitalization is basically when a person is in a critical situation, he needs to be hospitalized, but there is no space available in hospital, or the condition is so critical that shifting him from home to hospital is very difficult, especially some burn cases or broken bone cases. Sometimes it is more dangerous to shift to the hospital rather than taking care of them at home. I remember one case where this lady underwent uh, heart transplant, and after transplant, Medanta shifted her to home, and one doctor and ICU setup was created at home, and this was she was treated at home. This is what is domiciliary hospitalization. So this also cover these policies. Similarly, before treatment and after treatment, before hospitalization and after hospitalization expenses are also covered in these policies. Usually, here a number of days are fixed. Pre-hospitalization generally is 30 or 60 days, and post-hospitalization generally is 60 or 90 days. And total of these expenses, that is hospitalization, pre-hospitalization, post-hospitalization, total of these expenses should cross the deductible value. And once that crosses the deductible value, this policy triggers and a claim is paid. Few companies give you cumulative bonus. Health insurance has a unique feature where it says that when you buy a policy and take a claim, that's the purpose you take the claim. If you don't take the claim, that means you are maintaining good health and your premium should not go waste. The company gives you bonus in terms of sum insured addition to your policy. Generally, like some companies add 5 or 10% of the sum insured, and some companies add 50% of the sum insured on renewal if you don't take claims. So that way your insurance value is increasing when you are not taking claim. And when you take claim, the entire value is available. For example, somebody takes a 50 lakh rupees of insurance and policy says that every year 5% will be increased. So 5 years, no claims. So 25% is increased, 12.5 lakh rupees is added. So now if there is a claim, this person is eligible for 62 lakh 50,000 rupees of claims. So these are the broad coverages, and then there are now modern policies which are all giving you options to add certain things like a critical illness. Critical illness basically is a benefit policy. Now, usual question arises ki like, does this policy covers critical illness or not? This policy covers critical illness uh, treatment related expenses, but critical illness has a benefit policy also. So generally there is a list of critical illnesses for which you can add this cover and this cover works as a lump sum payment. So there are two conditions in this generally. There is a survival period and there is a diagnosis. So if a person has taken a critical illness and supposing cancer is mentioned there and person is diagnosed with cancer and it meets the requirement or definition which is given into the policy. Generally these are different medical associations definition, and there is ICD codes also, that is international disease code. So based on that, entire insurance value is paid once the person suffers and survives for certain number of days, and these number of days depends from policy to policy. Some policies say that survival of 7 days is enough, some say survival of 30 days is required. So if somebody suffers, let's say from cancer, and the survival condition is 30 days, 31st day without any proof of expenses, entire insurance value will be transferred or paid to the insured. The purpose of this critical illness benefit is two. One is that once the person suffers from critical illness, his cost of living will go up, and that can be there will be many expenses like medications, continuous medical attention, and sometimes there will be support required, or those costs, etc. So there will be a cost which will be there once a person suffers from critical illness. To meet those expenses, there is a lump sum amount paid. Second thing is, in case of a working professional, there is a possibility of losing income or reduced income. So suppose if there is a serving officer, if he suffers from critical illness and he has to take a retirement, outrightly he will his income will go down. And to meet that loss of income, for these two purposes, this critical illness policy is designed. This can be added to your regular policy, depending policy to policy. Few policies give you this add-on cover. You can add that, and otherwise, this policy is available as a standalone policy also. Then there's a personal accident cover. Usually, personal accident cover is not given to serving professional as retail product. As a group policy, it is available because they are considered to be high risk and always insured in group. So this rider is also available. This add-on is also available. Till the time you are serving, probably getting personal accident cover will be little difficult, but post that you can do it. Then global cover is also available. Some policies give you global cover. You pay extra premium and take the global cover. For example, Tata AIG has a top-up policy which gives you global cover. So regular policy is costing you 15,000 rupees. You pay 10% extra. It becomes global policy. And Tata AIG policy says that if there is any complication which is diagnosed here in India, and now you want to go out of India and take treatment outside India, so this policy will pay you. Again, the condition is same, sum insured and deductible. Any amount over and above the deductible will be paid by this policy if you have a global cover. Consumable items are one which is also available. As per IRDA, there are four lists which companies have. IRDA has published that those lists, those are not payable. One is a non-payable item, non-medical or non-payable item, that is list one. And there are 69 items which are listed there in this list. Those are not payable. Similarly, there are two more lists. Those are subsum list that says few items are subsummed with the room rent. So that means if hospital is charging separately for those items, this will not be paid, and otherwise it is expected to be part of room rent. Similarly, there is another list which is subsummed to treatment, and there is another fourth list which is subsummed to procedure. So these consumable items are not payable and generally not paid. Usually, when we take a claim and if this consumable items are not covered, about 3 to 4% goes out of your pocket towards these consumable items, because hospitals do bill those consumable items, and policy doesn't pay for that. There is an add-on cover. Pay extra premium, slight extra premium, and add those add-on covers to your policy. So this makes your policy or your cover holistic. And there are certain things which are not covered in this policy. With this also you must understand and check before buying the policy. What are the type of waiting periods your policy is giving? Initial waiting period is there. Usually it is a standard 30 days initial waiting period. During this 30 days, no illness or no disease is covered. However, in case of accident, it is covered during initial 30 days also. Then there are specified diseases or treatments. Usually, company will put a list of specified diseases in the policy. Those diseases are generally slow developing diseases like cataract, hernia, sinusitis, right, and tumor, which is non-canceric, and cyst, etc., and varicose veins, piles, etc. These are slow developing conditions, and those are actually mentioned in the policy. Different company have different list of these specified diseases. Usually about 15, 16 such diseases are mentioned in the policy, which are not covered for some period. And this specified diseases usually are covered after 2 years. Few policies give coverages after 1 year also, and few policies put specific waiting period for certain specified diseases like knee replacement, etc. Extra or more than 2 years also, up to 3 years. Similarly, pre-existing conditions are there. If somebody has a pre-existing conditions like somebody has a hypertension or diabetes or asthma, etc., so those will be mentioned in your policy. You have to declare, and those will not be covered for a period, usually 3 years. Now AIDA has made it maximum 3 years only, so usually it is 3 years. Some policies can actually reduce this waiting period by charging extra premium. So these are the waiting period which are there in your policy. Then there are few things which are not covered in this policy. Those are like standard exclusion. This exclusion 04, exclusion 05. These are IRDA coding of these exclusions, and IRDA health insurance regulation 2016 actually define these conditions where claim is not payable. It is permanently excluded. So these things anytime will not be covered. One is investigation and evaluation. If there is a hospitalization and there is no line of treatment, only investigation and evaluation is there, this policy is most of the policies will not pay. Rest cure, rehabilitation, and respite care is also not covered in this policy. Obesity or weight control is also not covered. But obesity and weight control in two conditions, this policies, most of the policies will cover. That is, in case BMI is more than 35 with comorbidity of hypertension, type 2 diabetes, and sleep apnea. And doctor recommends bariatric surgery to reduce the weight because of high BMI and comorbidity. And another case can be BMI above 40. And BMI above 40 without comorbidity, also bariatric surgery is allowed to reduce the weight. Change of gender treatment is not covered. Cosmetic or plastic surgery is not covered. Hazardous or adventure sports are not covered in most of the health insurance policies. Breach of law during that time, if something happens and the person reaches to hospital, that is not covered. Then excluded provider. This is very, very important part which we need to understand. IRDA allows insurance companies to blacklist hospital based on fraud, etc. So usually companies will have to publish the list of excluded provider. This list should be published on their website and also with the policy. But list coming with the policy is not sufficient because this keeps changing. Sometimes there is addition, sometimes there is a deletion. So a company's website list of excluded provider is the most authentic list. Don't go to those hospitals which are excluded, because there IRDA allows insurance companies to uh, refuse paying even a reimbursement claim. Forget about cashless. Reimbursement claim is also not payable if company puts some hospital in excluded providers list. Like in Gurgaon, we have two hospitals which are excluded providers, and then is alcoholism, drug and substance abuse. This is also generally not covered in your policies. Dietary supplements and substances are also not covered in policies. However, if it is a part of treatment, for example, if somebody breaks the leg, there is a fracture, and now doctor prescribes vitamin D, it is covered. But somebody goes for treatment of acidity and ulcer, and doctor prescribes vitamin D, then this claim will not be paid. I mean, dietary supplements will not be covered. Refractive errors are not covered, that is like LASIK surgery, etc., is not covered. However, in one condition, it is covered, that is if the diopter is less than 7.5. In that case, eye sight correction is allowed, otherwise, it is not covered. Unproven treatment, yard and I mean treatment which are not actually approved by IMA, etc. Sterility and infertility is also not covered, and these are standard exclusions. Apart from that, be watchful about specific exclusions also, because policy to policy, the companies will put different conditions also. Like for example, global cover is not a standard cover, but if company is giving global cover, then there will be exclusion related to global cover. For example, I gave you example of Tata AIG ka global cover. They say that we will cover condition, diagnosis in India. Second condition, payment in Indian rupees. So that is those conditions, those things will be there separately mentioned as specific exclusions. So be careful about those specific exclusions also. So this is how top-up policy works. Usually, if you ask me premium and all, nowadays the insurance is very competitive, and top-up policies are very sasti. And for 10-15,000 rupees, you can get a insurance of 1 crore rupees with a deductible of 10-15,000 rupees, 10-15 lakh rupees. So this is all. This is what I wanted to talk about today. And eh, any question you have, to Vipul sir, you can take it now, or we will take towards the end.